Why don't people make a name for themselves by doing good deeds? Well, some end up making a name by doing bad things too. Today's story is about a criminal who, through his heinous acts, carved out a dark chapter in history. The most shocking part is that this criminal has been preserved in a glass jar for almost 180 years. But the question is, why? We'll find out the answer in this video. So let's get started. The criminal's name was Diogo West, and his engine. In 1810, Calcium was born in Spain. When he turned 9 years old in 2019, his parents sent him to Lisbon, the capital of Portugal, to find a job. Portugal is the country where the great footballer Cristiano Ronaldo is from. Even after moving there, he worked as a servant for many local families in Lisbon, doing chores like sweeping and cleaning. Besides that, he did several small odd jobs in different industries, but he never really enjoyed that kind of work. Gradually, he got addicted to alcohol and gambling. Around that time, he also met some bad people, and that bad company led to. It happened that the business moved beyond just alcohol and gambling and got involved in the world of crime. The world of crime started to attract him, and he began to enjoy it because the dark world seemed very easy to him. No hard work was needed, and he still made good money. People chose the 160-meter-high bridge in Lisbon, built over a canal, to carry out their shady deeds. Everyone coming in and out of Lisbon had to cross this bridge. Farmers from villages around Lisbon also used this bridge to bring their vegetables to the capital. Industries used to go sell grain, and he was always waiting for the right moment, watching to see who would pass by that flower. As soon as evening came, when farmers returned alone to the city after selling their vegetables and grain, he would ambush them from behind and snatch all their money. To hide his identity in the world, he would throw the farmers off a 60-meter-high bridge, killing them. Some farmers started resisting, trying to save their money and lives, and even got into scuffles with him. Then the BDO, using a sharp weapon, brutally took their lives. He throws those bodies off the same bridge into the canal, takes all the farmers' money, and disappears from there. Obviously, no body could stay hidden in that canal for so long. Someone would definitely notice them. And that's exactly what happened. People found some farmers' bodies in the canal water near the settlement. At that time, everyone thought maybe these farmers, fed up with poverty, had jumped off the bridge to commit suicide. But gradually, the number of missing farmers kept increasing. Meanwhile, driven by greed, a devilish group of about 70 men, he had already committed murder. And after that, rumors started spreading in Lisbon and the nearby villages about farmers going missing one by one. Even the police caught wind of it. They went to the bridge and began their investigation. During their search, they found several bodies in the canal. The police examined the signs and, in the initial investigation, discovered that the farmers had committed suicide because there were no marks on the bodies indicating any weapon attack, which could have proven they were assaulted. They initially thought it was a murder, but later that claim was proven wrong because the police found bodies in the canal with multiple sharp weapon wounds. From the marks on the farmers' bodies, the police started to believe that these farmers hadn't committed suicide, but were brutally murdered. After that, the police worked day and night to find the killers responsible for these crimes. To stop this series of attacks, the police even had to shut down the spot where Diogo used to throw the farmers down. Meanwhile, the police after the action, the gangs went underground for 2 to 3 years. As soon as they went underground, the chain of power stopped too. The police tried really hard to find the killer, but they didn't get a single lead. Eventually, the police gave up and stayed quiet. They say once someone gets into bad habits, it's hard to get out of them. Out of fear of the police, the gangs stayed underground for 3 years, but in Diogo Velvet's mind, a devilish urge started to stir again. People began to think that now, killing farmers and snatching money wasn't bringing in enough income. Why not take their wickedness and brutality even further? So the two of them formed a gang, and he became the gang leader himself. He recruited small-time thieves, poor folks struggling to get by, and local ruffians into the gang. They also gathered a large number of weapons for their gang. Over these 3 long years, people and even the police had forgotten the old incidents of farmers being killed. Taking advantage of this, Diogo and his gang started robbing wealthy people, leaving a trail of massacre wherever they struck, especially in Lisbon. The police there were once again troubled by thefts and murders. He was so clever that the police were always 2 steps behind him. By the time they reached the crime scene, he had already fled. Diogo was so smart that he never left any evidence behind at the scene that could lead the police to him. But there's a famous saying, "Thieves have their day, and so do the lenders." One day, people raided a doctor's house with their gang, looting the place, and at the same time, the 4 members of that family were brutally killed, and then the killer disappeared. But that day, by sheer luck, the doctor's 11-year-old daughter Maria survived the attack and identified the culprit and his accomplices to the police. The police acted immediately. They contacted their informants in Lisbon, shared detailed descriptions of the culprit and his gang, and deployed officers all over the city. Finally, the police scored a major success by capturing the culprit at his secret hideout. When the police caught the industries, they didn't know that the industries themselves were responsible for killing the farmers. But one thing was clear to the police. Diogo was already a criminal type of guy, because no one just becomes such a big murderer out of nowhere. When the police checked his history and started cracking down on the industries, they were shocked to find out that both of them were those devils who killed poor and helpless farmers by throwing them off the bridge for some small amount of money. The industries confessed all their crimes in front of the police. That's the whole story. He went to court, where the doctor's 11-year-old daughter, Maria, testified against Diogo Velvet and his entire gang. Based on her testimony and Diego's own confession of brutally killing the farmers, the court sentenced both of them to death by hanging. In 1841, that ruthless and cruel murderer was hanged. But Diogo Velvet's story wasn't over yet. At that time, scientists in Portugal were studying phrenology, which is the science of the brain. Those scientists saw Diogo as a golden opportunity for their research. The subject says that you can learn about a person's personality based on the structure of their skull. Scientists appealed to the court to allow them to keep the skulls after the criminals were executed, so they could study them and figure out how these people ended up as criminals. Surprisingly, the court agreed to the scientists' request. After the executions, the heads were separated from the bodies and preserved in special chemicals inside glass jars, kind of like how the Egyptians used to mummify. Back in the day, they used to keep it safe. Well, it's 2021 now, and this incident happened almost 180 years ago. Even now, the skull of that ruthless guy, Diogo Velvet, is kept completely safe at Lisbon University. Scientists haven't really figured out much from the skull of this cruel and heartless criminal. Just looking at his calm face in the photos, you'd never guess he was such a merciless and brutal criminal in history. If you liked this story and the video, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it more. Share more quickly. We'll meet again with the next story. Until then, take care. Thank you.